Welcome back, guys. So we are still in the middle of a hurricane here in Houston. It is really not good in some spots. We're doing okay right now. The water has pretty much come up to the patio, but our patio is elevated a little bit, so I don't think it'll actually get in to our place. But there are some places here that are just completely underwater. We have a little loop around the city, and most of that loop is underwater right now. It is undrivable. And, I just want to put out there that I am praying for everybody who is worse off than we are in this hurricane, and hope that you guys are all doing okay, finding high ground, taking every precaution that you can, because this storm is no joke. I also think that the stress of this last week, with work and knowing that this hurricane was coming, has really messed with my skin really badly. You can see my chin is just broken out like it hasn't been in a long time. Like, this is not normal. But what I wanted to do today, since I do have crazy skin, is show you my easy, everyday, Longwear makeup that I use pretty much every day for work for oily skin. First things first, in the morning, I always wash my face, and I've already done that. And then next would be a moisturizer and a primer. I don't know if I've just been lazy, or if I've added too many steps to my routine, or I'm just slow, I don't know. But I have really been crunched for time in the mornings. So the first thing that I like to do is I've been using the Henriksen Counterbalance Oil Control Hydrator. This is a moisturizer and a primer in one, so I get to combine 2 steps, which means more time for other things. So I rub this between my fingers, and then I just pat this into my skin. It does take a minute to kind of set and sink in. So normally, I'll brush my teeth, or I'll, take my vitamins, or just something that doesn't take a whole lot of time in between. So I give this a nice chance to sink into my skin and be ready for my foundation. Next up is foundation, and the one that I have been loving for everyday wear is the Estee Lauder Double Wear. I don't normally like full coverage foundations for work because office lighting, not the best lighting. It is notoriously unforgiving. So what I like to do with this is use it with a sponge, because the sponge helps to kind of tone it down a little bit and take it from full coverage to more of a medium coverage, especially when you apply it straight on the sponge. And that way I have a really nice natural finish without looking overly cakey. So I just take it on the sponge and start tapping it into my skin. I just do one light layer, because this can pretty much cover up anything that I need, aside from maybe these pesky little breakouts down here on my chin. Once my foundation is done, if I'm having a good skin day, I won't even go in with concealer at this point. But because I do have some ridiculous breakouts on my chin, I'm going to show you what I do with my concealer. This is the Tarte Shape Tape, and this is like the best thing ever for oily skin, especially if you don't want it to move at all day. It's not going anywhere. So what I do is I just put 3 little dots under my eyes. I put 2 under my nose because I have really bad allergies and it tends to get really red there. And I'm going to put, this one's alright. I'll put 2 small dots of concealer right where I have these blemishes down here on my chin. I used to really hate the Shape Tape. I thought I would never like it. I never understood why people thought it was their holy grail, because when I first got it, I tried to stripe it up and down my face like you see people do in other videos, but that does not work for everybody. You have to figure out what works for you. But just these little dots with a pointy, fluffy brush really works for me. So I just take the brush and lightly tap it in. I like to kind of go in a triangle shape when I'm tapping, so I get that nice kind of highlight from it, but I'm also getting the coverage I want without looking overly crazy. Once I've blended everything else out and I get to the points where I have these blemishes, I like to take the very tip of this brush very gently and just start tapping around it, and especially underneath it, because that's where I found that most of the like the hyperpigmentation comes from, is right underneath the blemish. So that way you're not going right on top of it, you're kind of steering clear and just getting it where you have all that discoloration. Once I've got the concealer the way I like it, it's time to go in with a setting powder. And my favorite, I mean, it's basically been in every description box in every video ever that I've made, is my Kat Von D Lock-It Translucent Setting Powder. I haven't found another one yet that performs as well as this, you know, just on my oily skin, but it's all personal preference. The foundation, the concealer, everything you use is personal preference. This is just kind of what I found works for me. When I powder my skin, I also make sure to tap it in very gently. I try not to run my brush around my face, because when you have oily skin, the biggest problem that you have is your product moving around everywhere. So I try to minimize the movement of anything as much as possible by tapping as many products as I can. So just taking a really fluffy brush and just gently tapping all over my face. So once I have that light layer of powder on, I usually go straight into blush. I don't normally do bronzer on a daily basis because I do work in an office 5 days a week. I'm probably, you know, realistically not getting that much sun, and I found that if you do blush the right way, you don't go all the way in and you kind of do it between where you would put your blush and your bronzer, it can kind of help sculpt your face too. And what I've really been loving lately, just gotta put it out there because it's been so good, is this Urban Decay Naked Fleshed palette in Streak. If you have oily skin, these palettes are so pigmented and they're so long wearing. It doesn't fade, it doesn't budge, it's amazing. And this one in particular has been so great on my fair skin. You know, I held on to it for a long time because I thought, oh, there's no way I can wear any of these, they're too dark. They're not, they're great. Use a light hand, you're gonna look so great. So I'm gonna lightly just tap in to the blush and just kind of rosy up the cheeks and kind of take it right in between where I would put a blush and a bronzer. And this way it kind of helps sculpt my face while also giving me my rosy flush back, because my skin normally is very flush looking, so foregoing blush just kind of isn't an option for me. Once my blush is done, I go straight into my brows, and because we are in the middle of a hurricane and I have unfortunately run out of my two favorite brow products, we are improvising today. I usually like to use the NYX Micro Brow Pencil in Taupe or the Annabelle Skinny Brow Liner in Universal Taupe, but I'm out. So I am going to be using the NYX Micro Brow Pencil in Blonde, which is too warm and a little too light for me. It's kind of like baby poop brown. It's not a good color for me. And I'm going to be mixing it with the Soap & Glory Archery Brow Tint and Precision Shaping Pencil. This is actually like my holy grail brow product right here, but I can't find it in the States. I bought it when we went on vacation to the UK. So I use it very sparingly, and I am using it today for you guys because I love you and I don't want to have baby poop colored brows. I'm going to take the brow pencil and just lightly line where I want my brows to be and just fill in the areas that are a little more sparse. Normally at this point I would be done with my brows since I am done using this pencil, but I'm going to go in with that Soap and Glory pen, the pen side of this. There's two sides. There's a pen and there is like a waxy kind of pencil on this side to keep everything in place. I'm going in with the pen side to kind of tone down some of these orange tones just a little bit because this is way, way too warm for me. Now that these baby poop colored eyebrows are done, I'm going in for shadow, and what I like to do with my eyeshadow is really just make my eyes look more awake, like however I'm not actually feeling that day, because normally I kind of at this point still feel like I'm sleepwalking. So I like to take two Colourpop shadows in the same color family, but one dark matte color and one very, very light shimmering color. This one, the matte shade, is called Tang, and this is just a really beautiful, like, cool toned mauve. And I just stick it on my finger, run my finger in it, and pop this on my lid, and then very gently use my finger to blend this up into the crease a little bit. Once I've got that all over the lid, I take a clean finger and run it into the lighter shade. This is called Copilot, and this is a really beautiful, like, light pink shimmer. And I just dab this on the very center of my lid, and then I like to also take it right underneath on the lower lash line. Popping that shimmery shade right in the middle of their lids really helps you look more awake and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, even when you don't really feel like it, and also provides a really great backdrop for your mascara. I usually don't go in with any liner or I don't tightline, wing, nothing, but having this really light, fresh base behind it makes my lashes really pop, because I like to use like the blackest black mascara I can find, and just makes me look even more awake than I really feel. So I'm going to go ahead and put on a little bit of this mascara, come back, and we'll do the lips. See how beautiful, and like my lashes just look so much longer up against that beautiful shimmery shade on my lid. Oh, I love it. And lastly, I usually opt for some kind of nude gloss for my lips. And this one is the Maybelline Vivid Hot Lacquer and Charmer. They have some really great shades in this, especially for pale skin, so these are amazing. And I usually just pop this on real quick. And lastly, of course, we have setting spray. This is the Cover FX Mattifying Setting Spray, and this one you do need to shake before you use it. And with this, I usually just do 3 quick spritzes, 1, 2, 3, and we are all done. In the mornings, I only give myself 40 minutes to do both my makeup and my hair. So this look usually doesn't take me longer than about 20 minutes, and I can cut it down significantly if I don't need certain products, you know, if I don't feel like I need concealer, if I combine my moisturizer and my primer, if I don't use eyeshadow, I can just put mascara on, you know, things like that. So there's a lot of different ways for me to kind of add or delete steps according to what's going on that day, and that is it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. This look can normally get me through an entire work day, so 7 to 4 plus, and I know you're really not supposed to wear makeup when you work out, but sometimes I get home and change and then immediately go to the gym with my husband, so I don't always have time to take it off, and this can stand up to, let me be honest, I sweat like an old greasy man when I work out, so this stays put through all of that. So I think I've come up with a pretty good cocktail of products that actually work for me, and hopefully you guys have found some of this a little helpful too. And if you guys like these videos, don't forget to give them a big thumbs up and subscribe before you leave. I hope you guys are having an awesome week. Please, if you are in the path of Hurricane Harvey, please be safe, be cautious, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye!